The Indy NXT by Firestone season rolls on, and it comes to Lexington, Ohio for a one-race weekend at the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. Hello, everyone. My name is Nick Gilman. Thanks for joining us on the IndyCar Radio Network as we get the festivities started, gearing up for Sunday's Indy NXT by Firestone Grand Prix at Mid-Ohio. Boy, for Louis Foster, a charmed existence. 4 wins in the last 5 races, and the only race he didn't win was at Road America, where he finished second to his teammate Jamie Chadwick. He has established himself, I think, over the last month and a half of the season as the championship favorite, and everyone's been chasing after him the last handful of races.
And you know, we expected that going into this year, for sure. But then we go to the first few races, and nothing but problems. Not that are out of his control, with some car issues and some things went on at St. Pete and then again at Barber. Just couldn't get the luck going their way. But once they got the car right and once it runs, man, he's really, as you said, won 4 of the last 5. Just a dominant car to beat. Has a nice points lead right now over Abel. Abel was the guy on the roll. I mean, it seems to be those two right now are the ones really fighting it out. Now that Siegel is no longer in this series. Siegel, we always thought, was going to be one to challenge for the championship, but he's obviously was able to move on to that McLaren team. As Foster gets completely sideways going down into turn 4 right now. He saves it, goes over the top of that hill, but boy, he got really sideways down there in turn 4.
Ahead, Abel's the fastest car. We see Jack William Miller spin in the carousel, and that sends Callum Hedge skirting into the grass to try to avoid Miller. Hedge gets it back on the racetrack. Miller swung it all the way over to driver's left, but has stopped that blue number 40 car, Davies. He's trying to get it restarted. Most importantly, find a good spot where he can re-enter the racetrack, or at least get that car pointed in the right direction. But this is what I would anticipate you to expect with this brand new surface for everybody kind of feeling it out. So the green flag is back out with just over 37 minutes still to go in this practice session. Louis Foster, no surprise, early on, P1 of this practice session. Kyle Collette is second, Jacob Abel is third. Yuvan Sundaramurthy and Jordan Missick, the Abel Motorsports teammates. In fact, all 3 of those cars sit 3rd, 4th, and 5th right now on timing and scoring. Jamie Chadwick for Andretti Global is 6th quick. Reese Gold is 7th. Miles Rowe is 8th. Rest of the top 10 sees Bryce Aaron and Christian Bogle. Boy, it's a mad dash. They're trying to go 3 wide heading towards the S's. Kyle Collette, Salvador de Alba. I think James Rowe in that blue and white car did the smart thing and said, go ahead, boys. I'll let you dice it up down to the S's. But they're not wasting any time, Davey, as a nice crowd of fans. We anticipate the crowd's going to continue to pick up. By Saturday and Sunday, we're going to see some massive crowds. And again, Salvador de Alba, Kyle Collette not cutting each other any slack here. It is only practice, gentlemen. Yep, we see 4 cars attacking the S's right now as Josh Pearson makes a nice pass around Salvador de Alba. And de Alba's got Callum Hedge and Miles Rowe up the gearbox as they head back downhill. And that's really, Davey, I think one of the coolest elevation changes, because you're going up and down, but you're also turning left and right. Yep. And also a great view for all the race fans as well.
And really, as you said, the elevation changes. It leaves all those corners, every one that we talked to, 5, 6, 7, 8. It shows all of those. All those are blind corners, and we see Abel come up back on track in turn 12.
Yeah, that's right near the carousel towards the entrance of pit lane, and that black, white, and red car for Abel Motorsports. He enters this weekend second in the championship, just trying to get his season pointed back in the right direction. Frustrating weekend at Laguna Seca, where he came home in 11th in race number 2 after a podium in race number 1. But again, threw away a lot of points, and that's why Louis Foster is the man of the hour with a 35-point advantage over Jacob Abel. We're watching Reese Gold navigate his way around the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course, and car number 10 is pretty quick right now at a minute 12.560. That's good enough to put him 3rd quick behind Kyle Collette and Louis Foster. Collette's gone the fastest at a minute 12.265. Foster, the winner here a year ago, at a minute 12.3, and then it's Reese Gold at a minute 12.5. Rest of the top 5 sees Jamie Chadwick 4th and Miles Rowe 5th.
Lane, you've been Sundaramurthy, one of those cars. He did a damper change on the rear of that car. He's getting set to go back out. Louis Foster also on pit lane as well, but no word on what's going on with that car.
And we have a spin out of the racetrack. That is Jagger Jones in car 33 for HMD as he makes his return to Indy NXT by Firestone. Great looking race car, yellow, blue, and white. As I'm not sure if he's killed the engine or not. Dave,
yeah, he got it fired up, and then he went to take off and stalled it again, and now he's stopped again. So sometimes they have to have a booster battery, as we talked about, a booster battery just to plug in these cars to get them fired up. The starter is on board. Good to see Jagger back, as you mentioned earlier, but getting him another opportunity to it's been since last year. We didn't get it. We haven't seen him this year, and you know, I know he wants to be in this series. He's working hard to make sure that happens, and right now looks like he has it fired. Yes, he does. Not going to stall it this time. Going to get turned around. Track is still green. Just needs to make sure he gets on track, kind of a blind area where he's at. Kind of the same thing that Miller did. Just got in there a little bit too hot. The back of that car just started coming around. They both basically stopped in the same area. So grip may be a little bit low right there at this point. And
got my eye on the Brazilian Kyle Collette heading towards the keyhole. In fact, he's catching a couple cars that are just entering the racetrack. Jack William Miller, who brought out the first red flag. Kyle Collette swings to his outside, and that driver of car number 18 is the fastest so far. Let's give you the full field rundown. Kyle Collette's the fastest at a minute 12.265. Then it's Louis Foster, Miles Rowe, Reese Golden, and Josh Pearson, your top 5. Jamie Chadwick for Andretti Global sits in the 6th spot. Jacob Abel, he spun a little bit earlier, but is still 7th fastest. Callum Hedge is 8th. Jordan Missing is 9th, and 10th is Christian Brooks. Nolan Aller in car 11. He is in spot 11 right now here in practice. Christian Bogle was 12th. He just moved his way up to the 11th spot, though, as Christian Brooks falls to 12th. Bryce Aaron is 13th. 14th is Salvador de Alba Jr. 15th is Jonathan Brown. And Jagger Jones, who brought car 33 back to pit lane, he's 16th quick. Jack William Miller is 17th. Yuven Sodermorthy is 18th. And then Michael Young has been documenting the problems for James Rowe. We heard from Rob Edwards some engine electrical issues is why he has only turned 3 laps in this practice session. So for drivers like Miles Rowe, who sits in 4th, he's got his hands full trying to hold on to that spot in the championship.
Yeah, and right now, he's in a good spot, really. He just needs, we've seen him really look good at some races. We've seen some mistakes being made that he beats himself up on. I mean, he wants to win this championship. Obviously, he wants to win races, and he's put all that effort. But I'll tell you, this team they've really came a long way. They're contenders to win races right now, and Rowe's doing a really good job. Matter of fact, as he sits 3rd on the speed chart right now, about 2/10 off, is pretty darn close as he goes down this front straightaway right now, putting in another lap.
Yeah, I'll say so far in this practice session, you know, it's not like any one driver has kind of checked out. Right. Collette and Foster are tied at the top, but then you've got Rowe and Gold there right there before you get about a half a second back to Christian Brooks, who just turned that lap. So young Christian Brooks from California has found some speed as well.
Yeah,
we're watching the winner from Road America, Jamie Chadwick, navigate the last couple corners here at Mid-Ohio as that young lady approaches the carousel, keeps that car to driver's right, swings it out to the middle of the racetrack, and then kind of diamonds it off, gets back on the throttle, and then bends it back to the left to get on the front straightaway. Right now, Jamie sits 12th fastest right now. Just saw a pretty good lap turned by Christian Bogle. The driver from Louisiana has moved into the top 5. He's at a minute 12.383, but everyone is chasing Kyle Collette and Louis Foster. They still sit at the top, separated by just a couple hundredths of a second. Collette at a minute 12.265, Foster at a minute 12.306. Miles Rowe is 3rd, Christian Bogle is 4th. Christian Brooks is 5th, and then you know, the car I'm looking for, Davey, is Jacob Abel, all the way down there in 13th.
Yeah, I just looking at where's Abel at, and why is that speed not there? Basically, over a half a second off the pace from Collette right now in P1. That's not where we usually see Abel. We've seen, obviously, he got off course early on. Just haven't seemed to find that speed. Teammate, one of his teammates is right behind him. Matter of fact, that team is 13th, 14th, and 15th right now on the speed chart.
Yeah,
he uses all the racetrack coming off there. He is definitely trying to lay a lap down right now in that 51 car going down into turn 2.
Yeah, let's watch him here because he's definitely on a flyer. You can see him really wrangling that steering wheel out of turn 13, and he lost it, Davey, out of the keyhole. You could just tell the body language, the car language of the way that thing was moving around. He was getting after it, and boy, just spilt over a little bit exiting the keyhole.
I think you're right. I think body language in it too, because it seemed like his helmet was a few inches higher and his hands were moving really fast, and just he was on the edge. Didn't like his turn 2 entry or exit either. I think he got in a little too high, trying to do a really late apex, and when he got on that throttle, it just got on the curbing and spun that car around.
It's Davey, just under 6 minutes to go here in practice with Miles Rowe at the top of the charts.
Yeah, good run by Rowe too. Matter of fact, yeah, I don't know if we've seen him on top of the charts before. I mean, he's been pretty fast, but I think this is the first time we've seen him on the fastest, and we just showed how, or talked about how aggressive he looked like he was getting. This team's getting better and better. That just goes to show you that him on top right now, it tells you that him and that team are really getting the flow of how things need to be.
Jamie Chadwick has shown some speed. She
there.
just moved up to third quick on timing and scoring at a minute 12.099. In fact, the top 5.
How about that?
With all within 0.2 of a second. In fact, you go all the way down, Davey. I mean, go to the top 10. They're all within a half a second. Down for Miles, who are all the way to Callum Hedge. This is pretty tight at the top of the field here in practice.
Hey, and how about Abel? Even after that spin, he did improve his time. He went from 1:12.4 to 1:12.2, puts him in that 6th position. But yeah, Miles Rowe on the top at how about Colette? Just turned the first one into 1:11. 1:11.7. Now Foster 1:11.8. Rowe now 12 flat. Chadwick at 12 flat. Gold at 12.1. They're starting to lay the laps down now.
Foster, Abel, Hedge, Colette, Rowe, they're all heading towards the timing line as well, but that is an impressive lap by Christian Brooks.
Wow.
Davey, we'll see if it stands.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to. Abel's crossed that line. He moved up. Foster went into P2. Came very close. 11.68 for Brooks. 11.69. Oh, Colette.
Oh.
Woo, he threw a big one down. 11.43.
So everybody fighting speed right at the end of this practice session. That's what you'd like. All these drivers would love to duplicate that in qualifying tomorrow. But some really, really impressive laps right there at the end of the practice session. In fact, as everybody hits the timing line with the checkered flag out, looks like the 3 fastest laps were all going to be turned really in the last 25, 30 seconds of this practice session. It's going to leave Caio Colette, P1, the Brazilian, at a minute 11.439. That is 0.2 faster than everybody. Christian Brooks, impressive in car 39 as he goes second. And then again, Louis Foster in his 25th lap turned his best at a minute 11.692. Reese Gold 4th, Jacob Abel 5th. Rest of the top 10, we'll see Jamie Chadwick, Bryce Aaron, Miles Rowe, Salvador de Alba Jr., and Jonathan Brown. 11th was Yuvan Sunramurthy in this practice session. Josh Pearson was 12th. Miles Rowe 13th, Christian Bogle 14th, Callum Hedge ended up 15th, and then the final 4 drivers, Jordan Missick, Nolan Aller, Jack William Miller, and Jagger Jones.